Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm your Honglin with Steve Hatherley in the studio. Hello, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
A great pleasure having you on Takeaway Chinese. In the previous episode, we talked about Xinjiang, several keywords, explaining the region, especially to those who have never been to Xinjiang. Now you have a broad idea about the autonomous region, right?
Yeah, we learned it's the Uyghur Autonomous Region, and I learned that the region itself is much more diverse than I knew about, from the food to the people to the religions. I learned that the landscape is beautiful, and I learned that I want to go someday.
Yes, I want to go too. I've been there several times, but each time I feel that there must be something hidden, something that I missed, something that I want to come back for.
Well, the area itself is so big. You told me it was the size of maybe Texas, California, and New Mexico combined, or even bigger than that, or something along those lines.
Yes.
So I think you could probably go maybe more than 10 times and discover something new and wonderful each time you went.
Yes, it's a place full of 多元文化, different types of culture from different ethnicities here in China. It's a place that I find very musical.Very beautiful melody, 好听的音乐和旋律 with local characteristics. It's ridiculously beautiful. It has really beautiful landscape, natural resources, and still my favorite part would be its culture.
You told us about your kind of dancing experience where you got picked up off the ground and swung around, and it just sounds like a really fun place to be.
It is a really fun place to be. For those who have visited Xinjiang or watched videos about it or live streams about it, instead of just listening to podcasts, it's really easy to identify the character after you are familiar with the style of the clothing, of the architecture, of the decoration, both indoor and outdoor. It's with Xinjiang style. But after going there for several times and learning about the culture a little bit, I also recently realized that the history, especially the folk stories that are told from generation to generation as bedtime stories, as the kind of stories that you tell your kids so they learn the good from the bad, they learn how to do the right things. These kind of stories, these kind of folklores or folk tales are important in different cultures in different places.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we have folk stories in Canada too, and whether they're true or not doesn't seem to be the most important thing, right? Yeah, it's just stories that are passed down. You know, grandparents will tell their grandkids, and then when they grow up, they'll tell their grandkids about them too.
Yes, and stories in Chinese is 故事.
故事.
故 carries the meaning of ancient or old or past. For example, 故人, 人 is a person. So 故人 is someone from your past, someone you know of, maybe you haven't talked to for a really long time, yet this person is important in your history.
Okay.
故 and 事 is affair or a matter or a thing. So something happened in the past would be a story.
故事, a thing that happened in the past.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way of thinking about it. So 故事. So again, like you said, and also in the Mandarin language, 故事, it does not have to be true. It does not have to be factual. It's a story. And folk tales or folk stories in Chinese is 民间故事.
民间故事.
Perfect. 民 is 人民, so people. And 间 is a little bit like among. So the tales, the stories that are passed down or spread out among the people.
Okay,
Folk
I get
stories.
it. Yeah.
新疆民间故事. That is going to be something we want to talk about today on Takeaway Chinese.
And this will be another opportunity for us to learn even more about that part of China.
Yes. So for those of you who are interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. Before talking about the folk tales in Xinjiang, let's talk about folk tales in general. I think I have heard of a lot of different folk tales when I was little, and there's always a very clear good guy and a very clear bad guy.
And always a clear lesson to be learned,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. China has a lot of folk tales, right?
Ooh, a lot.
Yeah. Did I do a voice project or was I just having a look at the video for editing? Anyway, it was about and I hadn't known about this one before, about the young lady who she stole some potion or...
Yes, 嫦娥.
Chang'e, right. And then she had to go and live on the moon.
Yes.
And I don't know why she had to go live on the moon, but she did. Because I remembered learning about China's space program a little bit, and the rockets were called Chang'e.
Yes.
So there's a connection from the folk stories to modern day China.
Yes, there are different types or different versions of the Chang'e story. The one you've heard of, the Chang'e stole the potion so that she could live forever, that is one version. Well, my favorite version was that the potion was given to her and her husband by one of the goddess on the heaven to honor or to praise or as a present for their heroic behavior that they did among the folks, 民间. And it was supposed to be shared, the potion, by her and her husband. If they share them, they can live forever on earth happily together. Yet, because some bad guy, they learned about the potion and they go to Chang'e to steal it from her, to rob it from her while her husband was not at home. And she does not want the bad guys to have them. So she swallowed the entire thing. And if you share, you live forever. But if you have it all by yourself, you would be flown to the moon, live there forever, which is cold and not very pleasant. But she wanted to do the right thing, and that's why she had it all, and she lived on the moon forever.
But it was misunderstood because, people thought, oh, she's being selfish, when in fact, she was just trying to protect everyone because the criminals were trying to steal it.
Well, there are different versions, and that's the thing. I started to learn about folk tales when I grown up a little bit. That is, there are different versions, and there are different things to learn with the different versions of the folk tales. And I don't know about you, but for me, folk tales or in these folk tale stories, as a kid, you would always pick your favorite character. Some like the one who's really, really diligent and work on what they want and finally got it. Some would prefer the prettiest girl in the story that everyone likes. But oftentimes, I think the most popular character would be the smart character that is humorous, that can tell a lot of jokes and can always find a smart way to win the bad guys.
Is there a folktale that has that type of character?
Oh, a lot. One thing or one folktale that I can think of is Afanti的故事. Have you ever heard of Afanti? I didn't know when I was a kid, but now I know the stories of Afanti is a story that is originated from Xinjiang.
Okay.
And he's famous for being clever, humorous, wise, often use witty words or unexpected tricks to help common people, to help those who are from relatively humble background, and to fight against greedy local officials or greedy, selfish, rich man, and he's very much widely liked.
Kind of like a Robin Hood character.
A little bit.
Right? That's a different story. Steal from the rich to give to the poor. But kind of like helping out the common person, protecting them from people who could hurt them.
Yes, that's the idea. So, 聪明. That is how you say clever or smart in Chinese.
One more time.
聪明.
聪明.
Yes, 聪明 or 机灵.
机灵.
So 聪 and 明, Chinese people say 耳聪目明. So when you can hear things quite well, your hearing ability is good. 耳 is 耳朵. So 聪 talks about you can hear things greatly. And 目 is your eyes and 明 is bright. So especially in ancient times, people believe if you have sparkle in your eyes, it must be because your seeing ability is quite well. You can see things clear and see things far. And if you can see and hear your surroundings, then you must be able to react to it a bit better. So 聪明 together means clever or smart. And 机灵 is also a word that is used to describe someone who is smart. But 机灵 gives people this idea or this connotation that this person can react very fast.
Okay.
Smart in the sense that it's quick.
They're quick.
Yes,
quick.
机灵.
Yeah, they react quickly.
Yes.
With their words, too.
Yes. And on top of 聪明 and 机灵, there is one that is wise or wisdom. That'll be 智慧.
智慧.
智慧 is, in my opinion, a bit more important than 聪明 and 机灵.
Why?
Because when we talk about wise, it's like you not only have a quick reflex to the surrounding world, you also have the wisdom to deal with it in a better and more well-rounded way.
There's intelligence connected to that one.
Yes, that's 智慧.
智慧.
And if this person is 聪明, 机灵, 有智慧, 还很幽默, he's definitely the one. 幽默 is humorous.
幽默.
If you think about it, 幽默 and humorous sound similar, right?
Yeah, it sounds like humor.
Yes.
Yeah.
幽默.
幽默.
That's humor.
So what's the story?
There are so many different stories, but I can share you one or two so you get how come this person is a beloved character in Xinjiang 民间故事. To start with, we talked about him being the one who's always helping the ordinary people, the common people, and fight against the rich person. One thing about these kind of stories, funny thing, is that you do not see law playing a huge part in some of his tricks.
Meaning?
Meaning, for instance, one day when Afanti was walking in the village, well, this not super villain, but definitely bad guy in the story is 八一老爷, Master 八一, who is a rich man. He's the richest man in the village, but he's not kind to his neighbors, the poor people, his neighbors, and he's also very, very greedy. And one day, one Afanti passed by the house of Master Ba Yi, who had just finished eating chicken when Afanti arrived. Well, Afanti was drawn by the smell, and Ba Yi always demanded a payment from Afanti, saying that, well, you didn't eat my food, but you enjoyed the smell.
So you have to pay for the smell.
You have to pay for the smell. Take a guess, what would Afanti say as someone who's smart and witty and quick?
He might say, no, you have to pay me because you teased me with the smell of the chicken, but there's nothing in my belly.
That is a good one, too. You can be a character in these stories as well. What Afanti...
Afanti Steve.
Afanti Steve is good. Okay, so what Afanti did was that he got some coins and he put the coins in his bag and he juggled a little bit and said to Master Ba Yi, that sound is the payment for the smell. I enjoyed the smell of your food. You enjoyed the sound of my clicking coins. Good payment.
Yeah, it's kind of even, I suppose.
Right? Smart and quick and a funny response. And at that night, because Master Bai Yi realized that Afanti had the coins, Master Bai Yi wanted to know, what was his earning opportunity? Did he has a really good business is running? I want to follow him and see how it works.
Okay.
And he followed Afanti to a place. Afanti realized that Master Bai Yi was following him. So he went to a place and he buried several coins under the ground and said that, it was yesterday that I buried one and they grow to a coin gold tree and I got all the other ones and now I'm doing the same thing. And then he went away. And Master Bai Yi thought that was the golden opportunity. So he took many coins from his home and go to the same location and bury them and wanted to wait for a day. Guess what Afanti would do?
When he was out tending to the trees, Afanti entered and ate all the chicken.
That can be good. But remember, Afanti's mission was to help the poor villagers.
I was thinking what I would do. He took the chicken and gave it to the villagers so they could enjoy the delicious treat.
He dug out the coins and golds that Master Bai Yi buried under the ground, and then he gave all the coins to the poor villagers.
Stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Entirely.
Yeah, right. It's funny, isn't it? Because, these stories, I was reminded when you were telling that story of the character Scrooge. Scrooge, the name of the story is A Christmas Tale, I think, where Scrooge is this old rich man who's cranky and he mistreats his employees. So that character was similar. And then I thought, planting the gold coins, he said you plant the gold coins and a money tree will grow. I was reminded of Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't know if you've ever heard that story before. Plant the beans in the ground and the giant stalk grows up.
And climb to heaven with the giant characters.
There's a monster up there or something.
Yeah.
I forget the details. But there's a little crossover there, isn't there? And it just shows that these types of stories exist in so many different cultures. They're told a little bit differently, of course, with different character names, but because we're all humans and we all want to learn and teach the same lessons, then the stories kind of overlap.
Yes, and I think from Afanti's stories, these are only two examples. The story or the fight between Afanti and Master Bai Yi goes on for a really long time with a lot of battle, with a lot of fun tricks, a lot of plots. But judging by only those two stories and two examples, we know that on top of 机灵, 聪明, 智慧, 幽默, smart, quick, wise, and humorous, one key point, the most important trait of a hero with here, even in these folk stories, would be 善良.
善良.
善良 is kind and benevolent. It's because he's using his ability, using his smartness, using his wisdom to help the poor, to help the other villages. That is why he's beloved.
And the message there. And sometimes these folktales, they can be quite extreme. The stories, right?
If you steal really from the rich, definitely that's not okay in today's world.
That's not the takeaway. That's not what you're supposed to take away from the story. The thing is, you're supposed to help people who are less fortunate than you. That's the takeaway from the story.
Precisely. And when I was little, I remember watching these cartoons of the story of Afanti. Afanti has
they made cartoons out of it.
A lot. And one thing I love about it that I didn't know when I was a kid was that I always find it really easy to remember the look of Afanti. He has this really long but curvy beard that goes up a little. Pointing at the sky, and he's always on this donkey, which is not the kind of ride that you will have if you're rich. If you're rich, you would have a horse.
It's not a strong horse.
No, it's a donkey, and the donkey is always with Afanti, and they're together, and his clothing is always very beautifully decorated. And now I realize that it was with Xinjiang style. It was with Uyghur style, the clothing, and also also the cloth used as kind of bedding on the donkey that he carries, as well as the bags, the leather bags they carry. It's all with Xinjiang style.
Because the story originated there.
Yes, some may say that he was a folk hero created by China's Uyghur people. Others trace him to Uzbekistan legends of Turkish origins.
Okay.
So the truth about this witty sage remains lost in history, yet his stories have become timeless classics enjoyed by generations of people in China, and we can always recognize him when we see him. It's like he is iconic, and his look, his appearance, and his way of walking around in the world, helping people, giving or teaching a little lesson to the rich but not nice part of the world.
So in modern day cartoons, can children still learn about Afanti on TV?
Oh, yes. There are many different Afanti stories and Afanti cartoon that we can enjoy in TV nowadays. Well, I have to say, with the development of the cartoon industry here in China, kids now have access to a lot of other options, but I think the Afanti stories are definitely timeless. And for those of you who are interested in knowing more folk stories or folk tales in Xinjiang, you can tune in to our latest season of Chinese folk tales. In this season, we share many very fun and interesting folk tales from Xinjiang, and you get to learn about that part of culture, of history in this way as well.
Oh, that's really fun. Yeah. We have some stories in Canada too, but me being from Nova Scotia, I don't know if this qualifies as a folktale, but there is a story that has been passed down from generation to generation, and it's about an island directly next to Nova Scotia is a peninsula, so there's water on three sides, and there's an island called Oak Island that is right next to the mainland. You can see it. It's literally right there if you're in that part of Nova Scotia, and it's a mystery, and it's called the Oak Island Mystery. And I once stayed in a hotel right in front of it, and I didn't realize how close it was. There's water separating it, but you could walk easily if there were no water there. But the Oak Island Mystery goes back to 1795, and the mystery is called the Money Pit. And people still believe this to this day. Treasure hunters have searched Oak Island for centuries, digging some complex shafts with layers of logs and stone, believing, and this is what they think, that they are about to uncover some pirate loot from the late 1700s. It's true. The loot, now there's different stories about that. Some people believe it's Knights Templar riches. Some people believe it's Marie Antoinette's jewels that are buried in there. And people over the years have actually tried to get down inside Oak Island, under the island, through these shafts, and get the treasure. But no one has ever been successful. Why? Because the island, they say, is booby-trapped. The shafts, if you try to go in, they will flood. And there's no way that anyone has been able to find that treasure.
What lesson is that story trying to tell?
I don't think there is a lesson. It's just something that people believe. They believe there's a lot of treasure buried under that island, and the pirates that buried it there booby-trapped it so that no one could ever get it successfully. And people, as far as I know, people have lost their lives trying to dig out that treasure.
People really believe in it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it goes back to 1795. And if you go to Nova Scotia and you're right there in one part, you can see Oak Island. And if you're so inclined, you could try yourself one day, but be careful because it's dangerous.
I didn't see that coming. I mean, because, for example, here in China, many of the folk stories are for the pleasure of kids. You tell them as bedtime stories. We say 睡前故事.
睡前故事.
Yeah, so 睡 is to go to sleep. 前 is before. So 睡前故事 is the stories that you tell before the kids go to bed. Bedtime stories.
Well, this is kind of a bedtime story too. I mean, not really, but kind of. You know what another theory is of what's down there? People love to talk about like what's possibly down there. I said, oh, it could be Marie Antoinette's jewels. Another theory is that William Shakespeare's manuscripts are buried down there. So it's just kind of a fun story that people talk about, and you tell your kids about it. And I think the lesson is don't try, because, you know, you could get serious.
Found the lesson.
You could get seriously hurt trying to find it. But yeah, anyway, there you go. That's a story not specific to Canada, but more specific to where exactly I'm from.
Nice story. When I have a chance to go visit your hometown, I would go see it. I would not go try to get it because I learned the lesson. Or as the lessons of these folk stories, I think like the stories of Afanti and also his donkey, iconic donkey, and also the stories of other, no matter folk tales from Xinjiang or folk tales from other parts of China, these stories are always relatively short and funny. Easy to tell to kids, like little stories that would not take too long so that your kid can finish them and happily go to sleep and learn something before bedtime.
And excite their imagination too.
Do you think these folk tales and folk stories will be outdated today? We talk about this in Disney stories. Prince and princess live happily ever after. And then we started saying, we should not be relying on the prince. We should rely on ourselves. And girls should go out and work and fight against the evils ourselves. We do not need to be wait for the prince to save us, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think these folk tales are timeless, or they are, like Chinese say, 故事, old things that are not relevant anymore?
It depends on the story, right? Because times change and people change and society changes. So if the story is old and like racist or something like that, well, then those types of old stories, you want to get rid of those because those are not good for modern day society. Honestly, they weren't good for those times either. But if it's teaching a lesson to a child, the story might get retold, but in a different way. But the lesson will remain the same, because even though societies advance and things change and expectations change, the root lessons for human beings: be kind to other people, take care of people who are less fortunate than you, be honest, be loving to your friends and family. Those types of messages will never die away.
And if the character is as attractive as Afanti himself, funny, on a donkey in a really down-to-earth kind of way, and always fight against the rich and bad people and helping the poor in his village, then what's not to love?
Exactly. And that's why those stories continue today.
Yes, and that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Steve in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cjtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. There, you can also find Chinese folk tales, which features Xinjiang folk tale stories this season. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and ratings. 感谢收听，我们下次再见。
Thank you as always. 谢谢. See you next time.